couple hundred schools and a couple thousand classrooms around Minnesota. It's another one of those stories that doesn't get told. There's just so much really dedicated teaching and excellent learning that's going on every day, and teachers don't get any recognition or credit for it all. Can we make it better? Absolutely, but it's a lot better than most people give it credit for. And teachers are feeling very, I think, discouraged about the fact that they're not respected by their students or by the community, and I think that's a really tragic loss. I don't think it's unfair, but that's the way it is.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Governor, thank you for being here today. I'm an owner-operator of a small hospitality company out in Wilbur and Spicer, Minnesota. And our industry is really concerned about the discussion of minimum wage today. We are very worried that some of the numbers that are being thrown around are quite higher than the federal rate. I would like to get your thoughts on that, but also in the restaurant industry, there's a study has shown that our servers and bartenders are taking home $20 average an hour. And I ask and beg you to understand the need of restaurants in Minnesota to recognize that extra income that those folks are making, and so you don't raise those on us at that time when you're having this discussion. So your thoughts on minimum wage and the tipped employees, please.
Well, Minnesota right now, as you know, is below the national minimum wage, and I think that's too low. I think we're $6.15 an hour, and national $7.50 an hour, and President Obama's talking about going up to $9 an hour. So as you go up that high in one step, arguments both ways. I understand the predicament of restaurants and bars and those where their employees get a significant amount of income from the tips, and my hope is they can work that out. I'm not directly involved in those negotiations. I'm directly involved in quite a few other ones, but this is one where they're going to have to sort it out and come to something that hopefully is acceptable to you and your industry, as well as accomplishes the goal of making work pay. That's my standard. I want minimum wage to be such that somebody working full-time, 40 hours a week, can earn enough money in the workplace to support themselves and, say, a family of 4 at the poverty level, and then with more training and experience, move up and achieve the American dream. And because if we want work to pay, then we got to pay people for working. And we also, if we don't do that, if somebody's getting less than they need to survive, then the rest of us have to chip in through the earned income tax credit, through the food stamps, through all the other ways in which we support people who are underpaid. So I think it's in everybody's interest to let people achieve the American dream through the workplace.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Governor, I'm a small business owner that's responsible for about 86 house payments, a number of kids in college, I don't know how many grade schools. Take exception to or have concerns on your 2% Tier 4 seems to parallel the current administration, and many people seem to think that the 2%ers are the Warren Buffetts of the world. I think if you take our population times 2%, you're going to find that that's small business. And most of us are filing Subchapter S. And in that, I think we talk about our family values and how strong this state is, and yet we have a marriage penalty tax on all that. The marriage penalty tax for Minnesota is $200 single, $250 married, $400 for Obama, $450 for married. And that all attacks small business. And we're trying to make it, and yet people don't realize that we're filing Subchapter S, all that's ordinary income. In our little company, I carry 50% of the employees for 5 months while we wait for summer construction to come. That's at a cost of $200,000 a month. It means I need $1 million for those people to make it. So I'd like you to address that. Thanks.
Well, it's very criminal on their part, and my hope is, if we, as I said before, if we get out from under the debts owed from the past, start the next biennium with a healthy surplus. If I'm around, we can look at things like conformity with federal and abolish the marriage penalty. I commend you for your willingness to carry the employees forward. That's very admirable. According to the Minnesota Department of Revenue, only 6% of all the business owners of subchapter S corporations and other small businesses, only 6% of them would be affected by the fourth tier. And if you're making about $250,000 taxable income, if you're married, then you're going to be paying a fourth tier additional 2% only on the amount of money of income, taxable income that exceeds the 250. The numbers again, the Department of Revenue, there are 54,000 Minnesotans who would be affected by a fourth tier if we find it. Their average income is $645,000. And the fact that you get 2% raise 2% on the wealthiest 2% of the people in the state and raise over $1.1 billion in additional income shows just how high that stratosphere is. So, we, as I said before, if we were starting this biennium, the next one, this balance, zero balance rate, or the surplus that we've earned this last 2 years, we wouldn't be looking at raising anybody's taxes. And I hope we get to the point 2 years from now where, whether I'm around or not, where the state can be reducing taxes slightly. Right now, we got a $627 million deficit, and nobody in the state of Minnesota in the last 2 months has taken me up on my request. If you've got ideas of where we can cut spending specifically, tell us where, tell us how. I'm all ears. But you can't just bandy around the word reform like a slogan. It's got to be something real, and that hasn't come forth yet. We're looking for it, believe me. We're going to cut spending every way we can. We're not going to savage people in the process.
Yes, ma'am.
Governor, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it, and thank you for your support of tourism marketing. Please work with you on that initiative. I want to talk about the snowbird proposal in your initial budget proposal. I'm just wondering, has your position changed in terms of that snowbird initiative with the 60-day residency? We're very concerned about that in the Brainerd Lakes area with over 13,000 seasonal properties in our area and the potential impact that could have. So appreciate your comments.
Well, it's probably unworkable for that reason. I certainly don't want to discourage people from coming to Minnesota for extended vacations in the summer. My rationale behind the snowbird taxes, I think taxes should be fair. I think people should pay their fair share of taxes. And for people who leave here, go somewhere where they pay no taxes, come back for 5 months, 5.5 months, use all of the services, take all the benefits that we pay for as taxpayers and don't pay anything. I just think that's unfair. But it's, like I said, also unworkable. I don't want to. The longer I've been doing this, my work, the more I respect the law, unintended consequences. And that would be, you pointed out, unintended, at least on my part, unintended consequence, and one that probably obviates any way we could structure it. I wouldn't worry about that one.
Thank you for being here this afternoon. In your presentation, you said you want to talk about the facts. I want to give you just 2 facts. I'm not as smart as you. I don't have as many people helping me with facts as you do. In 2001, the government's budget, the Minnesota budget, was $24 billion and some change. The budget you first proposed, I believe, was $36 billion, somewhere in that range. That's 50% increase, Governor. I know it's a long time since 2001. You keep asking us, what would we do to cut the budget? That's not my job, that's your job. I sat, and you asked what I did with Republicans. I sat in front of the Republican minority leader. I said the same thing. It is your job, it is the Democrats' job, the Republicans' job to work together. And you have to solve this problem. The problem is not the budget, the problem is spending.